Behind the crossover, quick release. Oh, baby, and the foul. Woo. Offensive rebound for Watson.
32 seconds. Shot clock differential about 14 seconds. 3-point lead.
Who run shit like me? Top 5 basically. I still play for keeps. Ain't no fantasy. Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 10th episode of Divine Providence and the final one of 2024. I'm your host, Matthew Leb, along with Sergeant Eduardo and, of course, Mac, as always. We're past Christmas, so we're kind of in that weird period between Christmas and New Year's. So we have a lot in store for you guys to kind of get you through it. First, let me kick it over to you guys. How was your Christmas? You guys have a good holiday?
Yeah, I probably the one of the better Christmases in recent history for me. Not much running around like in years past, so I was able to just sit back and enjoy a couple bevs and just watch some Christmas basketball.
Yeah, Eduardo, how about you?
I still think I'm in a food coma, to be honest with you guys. But I had a good time, drank a lot, ate a lot. Really can't complain. Watched some NBA, Christmas basketball, some football. So, yeah.
What do you guys usually do for food?
Beef. Tenderloin or like a, filet. I mean, you gotta go red meat on Christmas.
See, I had Italian food, so.
See, my family broke out my mom got sick and tired of cooking because she hosts every holiday, basically. She catered Chinese food, which was a weird change of pace.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a nice little change of pace. I got sick of it after the next day, but it was weird having Chinese food on Christmas.
So on Christmas, Chinese, not like Christmas Eve, because that's pretty popular for Christmas Eve. But you did that full blown Christmas Day Chinese.
Yep.
So that's like a Jewish thing. They get the Chinese food on Christmas Day, and they go to the movies. So that you go to the movies, all the movie theaters are open for the Jewish people.
Is that like a concrete tradition where people like?
Yeah, this isn't like me.
Because Christmas and Hanukkah fell on the same day this year.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't know that. Weird. Okay, yeah, no, that's like a real tradition. Like in Japan, they eat KFC. And it's not like a stereotype or anything. We're not like being, insensitive. That's a real thing that people do. And it's very, very unique, very odd, thing. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't celebrate Christmas, where you got to do something. And I mean, Celtics Sixers wasn't really the play this year. So the movies probably would have been better. Maybe see a little Wicked, I don't know.
Huh. Yeah. So I also learned Hanukkah, I guess, is determined by like moon phases or something. I'm not too well versed in the history of Hanukkah, but like sometimes it'll fall at the beginning of December. Or years like this, it's December 25th. So, maybe the movies were put on hold because it was the first day of Hanukkah.
Could have been, yeah. Might not have been a movie year for the Jewish people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, moving on. that was fun. We have a lot to talk about today. Obviously, we're going to kind of recap the year. I know it's been a long, kind of up and down year. Definitely some bright spots, so we'll talk about that. Certainly some dark spots. I think we all can agree on that. But overall, we're headed into 2025, and things could certainly be worse. So I know things around the program are a little bit uncertain. There's a lot of unrest, I would say. But at the end of the day, it could be a lot worse. We have a lot of young talent on the team, some great recruits coming in, and we got a young coach who is committed to the program. So let's talk about the St. John's game quick. A heartbreaker, probably one of the worst if you were in attendance. I mean, in recent memory for home losses. Just absolutely dominance the first half, and then the second half the wheels came off, and you lost on a buzzer beater. So give me some thoughts about the St. John's game.
The first half. So I was sitting in front of a large group of St. John's fans, and I was ready to just let it fly on them in the first half. Like, we looked like the 96 Bulls. The threes were falling. I think that was the biggest thing, is that the threes were falling, and this is the thing that we've talked about all year. Like, when, I guess, English ball, quote unquote, is working and shots are falling, you look like, a top 3 team in the Big East.
Mm-hmm.
But, they show the stats on the Jumbotron at halftime. I'm looking at it, I'm like, we're shooting 55% from 3 in the first half. I was like, law of averages, that's got to come down a little bit. And as fate would have it, the shots just stopped falling in the second half. Rebounding again was an issue, and I think St. John's put up like 76 shots. I'm going to fact check myself on that one, but the threes weren't falling, and just probably one of the worst halftime collapses I've seen in that building in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like a tale of two halves. You have it was Kim English ball to a T. First half, you were setting the world on fire. Second half, they tried to kind of hold the lead. And I've seen teams do that a lot. A lot of Friar teams will try to kind of hold the lead and just basically dribble out the clock. You can't do that with a 13-point lead against a team that's like a lot better than you. St. John's is a lot better than us, at least right now. Not even saying like the personnel on the floor, they're just better. They're just a better team. So you have to keep attacking and try to step on their throats. You can't just run out the clock. It doesn't work like that.
I think the one issue, obviously there's been heat around Kim for a little bit, surrounding the team underperforming and issues with this, that, and the third. I think none of this game was on Kim. And I think, obviously, in situations where things aren't going well, the coach gets a lot of the blame. I don't think this was on Kim in any way, shape, or form. The one gripe I have about the game is that Anton Bonk played 20 minutes. And coming into the season, it was known he hasn't played much organized basketball. He is a project. He's young. You kind of buy into the raw talent. And I understand Oswin was in foul trouble. Bryce wasn't available. Eli DeLaurier wasn't available. Kreese has been underperforming. But I would have liked to seen, instead of swapping out Bonk and Oswin, so 40 minutes, one of them is on the court at all times. You just go completely small. No 5, because rebounding was still an issue with a 7-footer in there. You're just sacrificing speed and, shot making and ball handling. He's a raw prospect. I don't think in any game this year, unless you're up by 20, Anton Bonk should be playing 20 minutes in a game. Mm-hmm. And I understand the grievances against Kreese's performance this year. But if you're not going to play Kreese, Bonk, no ifs, ands, or buts, should be playing 20 minutes in a game that's close against probably a top 3 team in the Big East. I would have much rather, if you're going to sacrifice rebounding, put out guys that can run the court and can get you shots, as opposed to this raw talent that you don't really know what you're going to get from them on any given night. Spot minutes here and there I'm okay with. And obviously it was tough because Oswin was in foul trouble. But I don't know. That was the one thing that stood out to me, was that Anton Bonk played 20 minutes.
For sure. And I mean, I don't know if it was Kim trying to send a message, or if it was maybe him looking at it and trying to come up with the best strategy for the actual game. It was confusing. But I think this is where Kim is really kind of almost a victim in a way, because I think if he had Bryce, then it would have been such an easy way to just be like, all right, we're just going to go small, right? Bryce plays the 5. I'm not getting anything out of the 5 position, and then we'll do Oswin and then Bryce. So when Oswin needs a rest, we'll just go small. But you couldn't do that, right? And you really, I mean, you can't play Creased because, like, I do understand Creased is probably better than Bonk, but he's been so bad that it's really negligence, and it's sending a message to the team, sending a message to the fans, the donors, like, you can be so bad and you'll still play. I know we don't have a lot of great options other than, Oswin, Bonk, Creased, but I agree with not starting Creased and playing him very, very little. I mean, how many minutes did he end up getting? Do you know, like 5, 6, I want to say?
Who's that, Creased?
Yeah, Creased.
I believe he played 5.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I get it. I probably, push comes to shove, right? Losing by that small margin. I probably would have liked to see Creased in there over Bonk a little bit. Bonk has one of the lowest plus minuses, in the whole, like, Big East. So, yeah, I mean, hindsight's 2020. I thought they played a great first half. I thought, Bensley Joseph hit a huge shot. Kim didn't have a bad game by any means. Just, I don't think they're good enough to last a full 40 minutes with St. John's.
So I just want to correct myself. Creased only played 3 minutes. I got that mistaken with Jabri, who played 5.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
But if I can play devil's advocate, I think as far as if you were to list out X amount of players, rank the players who you're most happy with how they performed based on expectation this year. The one bright spot I've been able to find the last couple of games is Oswin and Ryan Mela, who are your 2 true freshmen, have seemingly gotten better every game.
Yeah.
Like in a season where things look bleak and it's going to take some things to fall right if you want to make the tournament. The bright spots I've been able to find are your true freshmen are seemingly holding their own in the Big East, and it's kind of a moral victory, but it seemed promising, I guess, because these are Kim English's recruits now that we're starting to see come into the fold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there are some bright spots, and I think it's so hard to see the bright spots when it just gets overshadowed by the darkness. But Ryan Mela is a huge bright spot on this team. Oswin is, I mean, I would say overall, we knew what Oswin was going to be, and I think he's kind of been exactly what we thought he was going to be, a pretty raw center with really good size that you're going to see some flashes of him being a good player, and then you're going to see some lapses. And then you have, obviously, a great recruiting class coming in, so there's a lot to be positive there, right? So you couple that with Mela, Oswin being sophomores next year, and you got a good recruiting class coming in. I mean, the future is certainly bright. I think it's just hard to feel that because the expectations around this team were so high. So it is, it's hard. Obviously, we're moving on. To lose on a buzzer beater, though, like you played a good game. You did everything you could. It just sucks. There's not much else to say other than it just sucks.
I was so dumbfounded. Like, I saw that ball go in and I just kind of froze in real time, just because I thought the game was over, or I guess regulation was over, and we were going into overtime. It didn't even register to me that, what was it, Ejiofor? Ejiofor got the shot off?
I think Zuby. Is that?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Zuby Ejiofor. It didn't even register to me that it went in. I don't know if I've actually ever seen a buzzer beater live. So that was, to see that, I was just dumbfounded and frozen, and I don't know. It was just such a letdown and such a collapse in that second half. And obviously, Oswin being in foul trouble kind of played a big part in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once the shot went up, I was like, this is going in. And then once it went in, I was like trying to get out of my aisle as fast as possible. Just get the hell out of there.
Get home.
Yeah.
Brutality.
Yeah. Really tough. Really tough. But we move on, right? We got a really fun New Year's Eve game. I mean, the New Year's Eve at the Dunk is always special, right? We've done it a bunch of times. I feel like the league has kind of tried to put the Friars in, at home on New Year's Eve a lot. For a while there, it was almost kind of becoming like a mini tradition. And then, we went on the road a few times. It's great to be, at the Dunk on New Year's Eve, especially 6:00 game. Marquette, toughest team in the Big East. You got Cam Jones. You have a really good overall team. What are they, 9th, 10th right now? So it's going to be a tough game. What are some thoughts about that game? I know we sent out a tweet for predictions, so we'll go through the predictions. But what do you guys think?
I mean, personally, I'm going to be paying attention to what the entire city of Providence is going to be paying attention to, and that's Bryce Hopkins' availability. I think I don't want to be negative Nancy here, but the only way you stand a chance in this game against Marquette is because of home court advantage. And without Bryce Hopkins, like, that is your only saving grace. Because obviously you saw how they played against St. John's last week. On paper, you don't have much business being in that game, but this is a serious home court advantage we have in Providence. With Bryce Hopkins, I genuinely think the Friars should be favored. However, we've kind of gotten used to getting left standing at the altar, and everyone shows up to the building to find out Bryce isn't playing. So it's a tale of two teams. You're a different team with Bryce than you are without Bryce.
Yeah. Nobody knows, right? That's the thing. That's the theme all year. And I mean, I just do not envy Kim English. I mean, to not even, I'm sure he knows obviously more, right? But I feel like he doesn't even know 100% until probably like a couple days before game time. Like, he probably knows now whether if Bryce is going to play or has a good idea, but I mean, we have no idea. Eduardo, what do you think about Marquette? You think we got a shot?
I think the real interesting thing about this is how we guard Ben Gold. He is a stretch 5. So playing Bonk is not really a very good matchup for us. So it's going to be – we could go small like what Max said earlier, but it's going to be really interesting in how we guard him. So,
yeah. I think that – Marquette can score the ball in a lot of different ways. They're a good team, very well-coached team. Cam Jones is lethal. He's one of the best scorers in the Big East. But, you're going to have to go up against guys like this if you want to be competitive in the league this year. You got Cam Jones. You got Jaden Epps. You got, Eric Dixon. So it'll be a tough – who do you think guards Cam Jones?
Yeah, that was my same question. I would like to see Bensley Joseph just because he's that quick guard. He might be a little undersized to guard Cam Jones, but I remember watching the Marquette game, and he's getting in Jeremiah Fears' chest of just like a welcome to the league type of moment. I would say I think Bensley might be the only dude on the roster I feel confident in picking up Cam Jones for 40 minutes. Ideally, they throw the house at him. Maybe Corey Floyd will see some action on Cam Jones, Rich Barron. But as far as a guard-to-guard matchup, I think probably Bensley Joseph. But you never really know.
Yeah, and you do have a little bit of a kind of a size differential there. Cam Jones, 6'5". Bensley Joseph, how tall is Bensley? Probably like 6'1".
Probably 6.
Yeah,
I'd say 6'2", maybe.
Yeah. So it's going to be tough no matter what. But I would say, all things considered, when a guy can score in that many different ways, and is a really, really just dominant scorer, offensive player all the way around. I would just say there's no reason to get cute. Don't play the size thing. Just go with your best defender. And I probably would endorse, Bensley Joseph taking on that role. One thing we did see last game is the starting lineup be a little bit different. So do you guys have any predictions on what you'll see from the starting five? I mean, we saw Barron in there. We saw Bonk. We know that probably isn't going to be the case. But any idea what we might see on New Year's Eve?
I think the shoo-ins of our lineup are going to be Oswin at the 5, and your backcourt looks like Pierre Joseph, and then some combination of a 3-4, a couple wing guys. Eduardo, I guess in your opinion, who specifically in this matchup against Marquette, who would you want to see in that 3-4 position in the lineup?
Well, you obviously want to see Hopkins. I mean, they have Joplin. He's a kind of a tough matchup. He's a pretty big guy. Cardet probably get destroyed in the paint. So Hopkins is a pretty good matchup for Joplin, but probably realistically, Cardet and Hopkins is probably your best bet. But if not, hopefully Mela. I'd love to see some starting Mela. So
yeah, I would really like to see. I mean, obviously, we are starting to see an uptick in Mela minutes, and we were talking about the, I guess, issue with the bigs earlier, kind of that we experienced in the St. John's game. If Eli DeLaurier is healthy, at this point, show me some Eli DeLaurier like meaningful minutes, because if you're going to be underwhelmed with what you see with Creased, and Anton Bonk, like you said, has the lowest plus minus in the conference, show me some Eli DeLaurier minutes. He's a true freshman. Get your guys some development. And he's proven he's just one of those tough guys that'll maybe not stuff the stat sheet, but, get things done and give you a spark.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at Marquette, I mean, you got 4 guys that average double figures point-wise. And then you have Ben Gold, who averages 8.8. So you got Cam Jones, who averages 20.3. David Joplin, 14.6. Stevie Mitchell, 11.5. You have Chase Ross, 10.5. And then, Ben Gold, 8.8. So, I mean, they got a lot of guys and a lot of options. So whoever you throw out there, I mean, you can't really have any liability. So I think, Bonk's probably out. I don't hate the idea of DeLaurier because I don't think DeLaurier brings anything incredible. I think he's relatively safe, kind of like a Lee Goldsboro type back in the day. And he'll do like the important things. He'll do okay. And then Ryan Mela, I think this is definitely going to be a big game for him on both sides of the floor. It's going to be a test for him, but you can't have just any guys that have like huge mental lapses.
Leb, you were just going through the, I guess the number of options this Marquette team has. I think it's super interesting how Shaka Smart has just completely ignored the portal and just has a top 10 team in the country casually. Yeah, I think that's all. Like, he is like the epitome. He's like Dabo Swinney of college basketball right now, where it's just like he's building guys, he's building a program in-house, and that's it. Like guys like David Joplin and Stevie Mitchell, a year ago, I would not have even batted an eye at, if those were two of your top 3 scorers. But, Marquette's getting things done. They have their alpha dog and Cam Jones, and just these complementary pieces that Shaka's recruited and developed from point A to point B. And, I mean, they got a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, and I mean, the only downside to that really is I mean, all these guys are going to be gone next year. I mean, Cam Jones is a senior. David Joplin's a senior. I believe Stevie Mitchell is a senior. Yeah, senior. Yeah. So then you got 2 juniors, right? And then they do have a couple freshmen getting minutes. Who Royce Parham has looked okay. And then you have Demarius Owens. He's also a freshman. He's been getting, some decent minutes. So, I mean, he's going to have to eventually rely on the portal. Probably like next year if he wants to be competitive. But this team can win a national championship. Like, they definitely can. And they're experienced. And they have a really good coach, probably the second best coach in the league. So, I do love this Marquette team. I said it when the season started. This is the best team in the Big East. UConn was getting a lot of love because they won back-to-back national championships, but this UConn team didn't win a national championship. Those UConn teams won a national championship. Donovan Klingon is a huge miss. Missing him is massive. So UConn's good, but Marquette is certainly the premier team in the league.
I just can't stress enough how much the outlook of the season turns around with a win on Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
A loss, it's like, all right, well, yeah, it's top 10 team in the country, whatever. But there's something about when a ranked team, especially a single digit team next to their name, like comes into the dunk. I just think the outlook of the season completely turned, especially with a healthy Bryce Hopkins. Like, if you can guarantee that Bryce Hopkins plays Tuesday and is good to go, solid as nails the rest of the season, the outlook of this team completely shifts. But those are two big ifs.
I think this stretch here, this 3-game stretch, which is basically early January, where you have Marquette at home, which is with Bryce Hopkins a very winnable game. And any game at home is a winnable game. Even if Bryce isn't suited up, it's not like they're really ever going to get blown out at home for the most part. UConn last year was a one-off thing. That team was just insane. But then you go on the road to UConn, right? I think that's January 5th they play UConn, the 5th?
Yep, January 5th.
Okay. Then you come back home and you have an insanely winnable game January 8th against the Butler Bulldogs. And I would love to see Bryce play in 2 of those games. I'd obviously love to see him play in all 3. But in a perfect world, if you have Bryce for Marquette, Bryce for UConn, and then you give him a little bit of a rest for Butler with a short kind of break there, you only have 3 days or 3.5 days in between, then you could beat Butler easily. Not easily, but you could beat Butler without Bryce. That's a fact. They almost beat St. John's without Bryce. They could certainly beat Butler with Bryce, and that's a home game. If you bang out, hypothetically, 3 games in a row right now, everything changes. Everything changes no matter what. That's a home win against Marquette, a road win at UConn, and then another home win versus Butler. Everything will change. The outlook will entirely change, and you'll be right back in that bubble conversation. So no matter what we say, I know we talk about a lot, the Big East cannibalizing itself. You have a lot of opportunities to get really quality wins, and this stretch here is like your best chance, pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. Well, even following that Butler game, if in this 3-game stretch with St. John's, Marquette, UConn, if Bryce suits up and you can squeak one by Marquette on your home floor with an all Big East caliber player, you're sitting at 2-1 in the Big East. Call a spade. UConn is probably tough. I don't know where they're playing the game. It probably doesn't matter. Probably sitting at 2-2. And then you have a stretch of Butler, Seton Hall, Creighton, Villanova, Georgetown, Seton Hall. So that's a stretch of 7 very, very winnable games. So if you can go 1-2 in this stretch, you're staring down the barrel of 7 winnable games. Few of them on the road. It's not entirely out of the cards just yet. I know it's been super easy to be pessimistic. We've been pessimistic, but a win at Marquette and that 7 or 8 game stretch of winnable games looks a hell of a lot more appetizing, I guess.
for sure.
Because you could easily be a few games over 500.
No doubt. And when you suit up for the Providence College Friars, there's one thing that and it's you're going to win some games that no one thought you were going to win. And the other thing is you might lose some games that no one thought you were going to lose. It's just the story of the program. It's always been like that since, I've been watching this team pretty much since I was 5 years old. They lay eggs against bad teams, and they beat some teams that they have no business beating. So how are they going to do it? Like, that's really the question. It's not if they're going to do it, it's how they're going to do it. They're going to win some games. Are they going to win the games that they should win? Like, the Seton Halls, the Creightons, right? The Villanova, Georgetown at home. Or are they going to go on the road and beat UConn or beat Marquette at home on New Year's Eve? You don't know, but they're going to win some games. Like, we know that for a fact. So it just comes down to, how they're going to kind of do it. So it'll be an interesting finish. I mean, I don't want to say finish because it's just kind of getting started, but we got 17 games left or 18 games left in the conference season here. So you got a lot to go.
This is a team that is clearly built around Bryce Hopkins. Not, I know Kim said the team's built to withstand an injury. We call a spade a spade. This team is built to complement Bryce Hopkins.
Right.
If Bryce Hopkins plays, I'd go as far as to say the Friars are a lock on Tuesday night, which sounds insane against a top 10
Lock
team.
it in.
Lock it in. Like, you're going to have a stadium full of people with all day to lube up on New Year's Eve. Like, I won't be there. I'm kind of pissed about that. But, like, if Bryce plays, that building's rocking with a bunch of piss-drunk psychos. That's a tough environment. And you're getting the best version of the Friars, which we've only really seen flashes of this year. But if Bryce doesn't play, totally different story. But if Bryce plays, I think the Friars win. And like we were saying, that this next stretch of like 7 or 8 games is, first round bye in the Big East tournament is up for grabs without a doubt. All super winnable games, and the outlook on the season in mid-February could be completely different.
Definitely. We do have some predictions for the game. So, prediction from Mindset Maddie. B-Hop's knee is not ready to go. So there you go. We have prediction from, let's see. We got, who was, someone said Friars, just Friars.
I think that was, let's see, who said that? I know exactly who you're talking about, and the person who said it was Huxley Mindset. Prediction, Friars.
Huxley Mindset. Yep, prediction, Friars. We got, yep.
I mean, you make a really good point. Make a really good point.
He does, yeah. Yes. Carl's thoughts. This is Crackhead Carl. Carl's thoughts: Friars win and Bryce drops 30. Personally, love that. That sounds phenomenal. And then let's go to. We got some more in-depth thoughts. So, Eduardo, you want to take this one over here?
Yep. So this one's from Tyler. He says, "Well, here's my exact thoughts. This is a must-win game for Providence. The Friars are in a very tough situation without Hopkins. Hopefully he's playing against the Golden Eagles. Friars would need him big time against the former Big East champs, especially with Cam Jones."
Eduardo, we were going over this beforehand, and you said you 100% agreed with this. What are your thoughts around this sentiment from Tyler?
Well, it's gonna be really hard to guard Cam Jones. I mean, I don't think little to no one can. So just trying to contain him is probably the key, as well as guarding Ben Gold as well. Hopkins, like you guys said, they built a team around him, and they really need him to play. Anybody, if he's not 100%, he should not be playing. So
Yeah. Yeah. Tyler is big Hopkins guy from, his tweets. So Tyler, I'm hoping that B Hop plays for you. That would be great. If he doesn't, it's going to be a really tough game. If he does, then I not to sound like a broken record. I feel like we've said this 100 times. I could easily see us winning. As for containing Cam Jones, or like Eduardo said, you just can't. You just have to hope that he misses. Like it. I know it sounds elementary, but that's pretty much it. You have to hope that he just misses his shots. He's going to score at least 17 points, right? We know that he's a lock for 17. Probably get up to 20, 24 if some shots fall. So you just got to hope he misses, and he's on the southern end of that, closer to 16, 17. So
their Marquette's last 2 losses to Dayton and Iowa State, Cam Jones scored 18 points against Dayton, 14 points against Iowa State. Outside of that, he's been a lock for 20 points for the past month.
Yeah,
I think if you can keep Cam Jones under 20 points, keep him honest, I think your likelihood of winning skyrockets. So I agree. I think Cam Jones, not stopping him, but being able to slow him down is the biggest key. But again, we've seen Marquette teams in the past. Shaka does a good job putting shooters around his guys, and you got guys like Stevie Mitchell who can just light it up for 20 out of nowhere and just catch fire from 3 on a random Tuesday in December.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, for sure. All right, what do we got next, Eduardo?
So this one's from Friars Storm. Since 1920 season, the Friars have owned Marquette at the dunk, especially when Marquette is ranked. I see that continuing Tuesday night. Bryce returns again, and he, Baird, and Pierre lead the charge in an upset. 78-74 Friars.
Okay. Yeah, kind of like last year almost, I feel. Last year against Marquette, I don't really remember how Devin Carter did last year, but I think Bryce had a pretty good game, right? Bryce had a pretty good game against Marquette last year.
Bryce historically owns Marquette.
Yeah.
2 years ago was his big game against them, right? I think he had 28 and 20 or something.
Yeah, something stupid.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I don't think that that's crazy at all. And I think that we saw something out of Barron that we hadn't seen all year last game. And then he made a couple big mistakes. I don't know exactly what the issue was, but I did see Kim get on him pretty hard under one of the timeouts. I think it was like the under 8 timeout or something like that. So then he really didn't see the floor too much after that.
Because I know at least the last couple of years, the Friars have beat Marquette every time they've come to the dunk. Was 2019 the last time Marquette beat Providence at the dunk? I might have to fact check that, but yeah, it's like seemingly every time Marquette comes here, regardless of if there's a number next to their name, the Friars usually take care of business. And
last year they were what? Sorry.
They were what?
I think they were 6 last year, right? 6?
Yeah, they were pretty highly ranked coming into the year. And that might have been our conference opener.
December 19th, 2023, Marquette was number 6, and we beat them by 15. Man.
Jeez.
Yeah. I think that was the conference opener. Yeah. We played Sacred Heart on the 16th and then Marquette on the 19th. Then we beat Butler at home. Then we had the Seton Hall game, and that was when the things changed.
Okay, so sorry. After fact checking, the last time Marquette has won at the Dunk is February 23rd, 2019.
Okay.
So historically speaking,
Gotcha.
I don't was Shaka wasn't the coach by then, correct?
I think that was probably still Woj. I think that might have still been Woj, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, Shaka's been there for a while.
Maybe it's just the aura of the Dunk.
Shaka's in his third year, so that was definitely Woj.
All right, so let's start pushing the narrative here. Shaka can't get it done at the Dunk.
Shaka can't win at the Dunk. That is a fact. Shaka was with Texas before. Did they came to the Dunk? I think, right?
I'm not sure.
I want to say they did. I mean, they came December 21st, 2019. Providence beat Texas 70-48.
Jesus Christ.
Alpha Diallo had 14 and 12.
At home. Shaka Smart cannot get it done.
December 21st, 2018. Was that a neutral? Was that a home game? That was a home game?
2018 was okay, so we must have had a home and home. 2018 was in Austin. 2019 was in Providence. Friars won both of them. I think we found Shaka Smart's kryptonite.
What is Shaka Smart's record versus the Providence College Friars? I don't even care about.
I think that was the Big East Big 12 battle.
Okay, you know what? That's right.
Sounds. Yeah. Shaka Smart is not good against the Providence College Friars. Wow.
Mm-hmm. And it took the Oduro ball screen to beat him in the tournament last year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That is right. That was a terrible, terrible call.
Shaka Smart, we found your kryptonite.
Yep. He's gonna have a sad New Year's Eve at the Omni Hotel. Gonna be very sad.
I'm fired up now.
You may need to take a trip to Foxy.
Yeah.
Get his little hopes up.
Yeah. Get Cooley on the phone. He'll tell him all the spots. You know, the coping spot after a loss. All right. So we got, there we go. One more. Eduardo.
This is from Howard. Wondering about the crowd. Students home, 6 p.m. on New Year's Eve.
I think because it's New Year's Eve, I don't know if it'll be a problem.
I definitely think the students thing is an issue, but if we can't pretty much sell out a top 10 team in the country on New Year's Eve, 6 p.m. game, Big East play, then, I mean, we got an issue. We have a problem. That's a problem, right? We have a problem. So the crowd should be good. Obviously, the students, there'll be students there. That's just how it works here, but there will certainly be less. But yeah, if we can't get 11,500, 12,000 to this game, then we have to have a serious conversation.
I don't think it's been historically an issue in the past. I mean, I guess at least selling it out. The intensity of the crowd, I think, is obviously different without students. But as far as the attendance, you got a top 10 team in the building.
He's talking about like the quality of the crowd, like not the amount.
I mean, I guess both kind of factor into it. I don't think there should be any concern. I mean, it's definitely a top 10 team. I mean, were the students on spring break for UConn last year? Was that?
Yeah, they were, and it wasn't. It was pretty rough. It was pretty rough.
I will say, I mean, when things were going well, the first 8 or 9 minutes of that game, that building was rocking. I think if the game's at least competitive, students or no students, I think the building should be rocking. You have a top 10 team in the building.
No, yeah, I mean, the crowd. I didn't mean the crowd was rough. I meant the students' turnout was rough for UConn. Okay. Even because sometimes I think because spring break is like the time where kids all go on vacation. Like this is more of like you go home and they go home to Connecticut and they come back Connecticut, parts of Rhode Island, Boston, whatever. So there'll be more students at this one than like a spring break game, you know?
I think it's gonna be a one of those vintage dunk games. I might need to start working on my WWE monologue for next week's episode. Knock on wood.
You need to work on a way to get to the dunk.
Yeah, I will not be there. However, I will be boots on the ground in Newport and watching via a TV in a bar. That is, I'm
Okay.
definitely
Hey,
definitely a fake fan for that.
nah, you're valid. You're valid. I mean, I've seen the Friars win plenty of games in Newport, bars all around the country. You know, I've also seen them lose games. It is what it is. You know, you got things going on, and it'll be fun. I'll be there. Eduardo, what about you? You gonna be there, or you going back?
50-50. I'm either going to be in Newport or at the dunk. Still trying to decide. Probably,
All right.
hopefully, dunk.
I hope for your sake you get to watch.
in the top.
Yeah, I hope for your sake you get to watch the Friars take down Shaka again, and you just get to book it to Newport and drink your balls off.
When's the last New Year's Eve game we've had?
I don't know the last time we had a New Year's game. I mean, I think that we had we didn't have one last year on New Year's. I think we had one of the dunk recently, right? I mean, I don't know, probably like maybe 3 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, I can't exactly remember, but I mean that's awesome. I think it's cool that the league tries to put us seemingly on New Year's pretty frequently.
Yeah.
What other games do we have around the league on New Year's? Is that like a common occurrence league wide?
Well, yeah, it seems like it's pretty good. It's a pretty good slate. So let me pull up the old Big East basketball slate here.
I got it. It's Seton Hall Xavier at 2:00, and we got St. John's Creighton at 4. Both on the Peacock.
Wow.
And then you got the prime time heavyweight battle at the Mecca of college basketball. 6 p.m. Get your college basketball fix in before the ball drops.
Yep.
Friars.
Is it? Are we also? Sorry, Mac. I didn't mean to interrupt. Are we also on the cock?
We're on Fox.
We're on FS1, yeah.
FS1. Okay, so the other two games are just on the cock, not us.
Yeah, we couldn't be on the cock.
I think
Hashtag
we're
the
on.
cock.
I think we're on against UConn or NBC or something.
That makes sense. UConn fans probably only prescribe to the cock.
Yeah, it's on the cock.
They don't have
games in Connecticut.
Yeah. They don't have anything else. No cable, just the cock.
Yep, just cock. All right, so speaking of New Year's Eve, we are we're wrapping up 2024. And as part of a New Year's special segment, I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of take a look back at 2024 in Friars basketball, on the court, commitments, moments on Twitter, anything surrounding the program from 2024. So we are going to be doing a draft of the top Friars moments of 2024. I got like a dozen loaded up here, so I can, if we do 3, I will volunteer to have the last pick. So I don't know how you guys want to decide who's 1, who's 2.
Well, Eduardo can go first. That's fine.
All right, there's a lot of great options, but I think I'm going to go with Devin Carter's windmill dunk against Georgetown. The roof almost blew off after that dunk. And just the first time that coach, I forget his name, the Georgetown head coach.
Some guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure who he is,
Yeah.
but first time
really
playing in the amp, I think. Basically the dagger for him. So that's what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah.
Going off that,
I love that.
So the Georgetown head coach and the Marquette head coach have not won in the amp. Am I correct?
I mean, I can't say if what Shaka did at VCU. I don't think VCU ever came here, and I don't think we ever lost to VCU. Fairfield never came here with the old coach, and yeah. So I think that's correct. I think that's correct.
Crazy. It's the magic of that building. But yeah, Eduardo, I also can't remember the name of that coach, but
I think it
was
starts
good
with an E. I'm not sure though. I might have to fact check that. If someone can help me out once this gets posted.
Eduardo? Is his first name Eduardo?
Could be. Could be a poser.
That's well. You might have to go down to Chalkstone, right across the street from Rigo's Auto Body and the Taco Bell, and ask the ladies that work there if they know the name. They'll probably know. So my favorite moment was the Big East tournament win over Creighton. Being at the tournament when you knock off a big team like that is so special. Then you go to Jack Dempsey's and everyone's just so fired up, and it's just so fun. That was unique because like I was going to go to the Big East tournament. I went with my girlfriend, but she couldn't make it for that game, so she didn't come until after the game. So I just had one ticket. I was just by myself, and I was had a really crappy seat. So I was like, this kind of sucks. So I went down, and I ended up hanging out in the student section for that game. And the boys were absolutely just fired up. Tarps came off, and those kids actually left their spring break early to come back for the Big East tournament. So that's dedication. And they were just dedicated, all sunburnt, hungover, just absolutely fired up. Tarps off in the student section at Madison Square Garden. Just an incredible, incredible moment.
That was the game where Rich Barron had that insane sequence of stop score. He just banged 2 threes in a row.
Yes, I totally forgot about that. That's correct.
That was friggin' awesome, dude. That was the most fired up I've ever been.
Yep, that was awesome. He had a great game. Jaden Pierre had a great game, for sure. So it was an awesome game. One of my favorites of the past 5 years.
The Big East tournament is genuinely the best tournament.
Awesome.
There are parts of March Madness that aren't better than the Big East tournament. Genuinely.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Best atmosphere in sports.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So for the 103, I have 2. I'm down to 2 right now. One is more of a cool moment for the fan base. Another one, I want to stay on the court stuff and get the good on the court stuff out of the way. Devin Carter's shot against Creighton is one of those moments in the dunk that I'll never forget where I was. My brother and my buddy went to the game. We got last minute tickets, drove over. It was the pink out game. The pink out game always feels more important. It always just has it feels like it has a certain weight to it. And then obviously you're down against Creighton, who I think was top 15 in the country at the time. And Devin Carter gets the ball on the wing, chucks it up with 15 seconds left in the shot clock. I vividly remember the roller coaster of emotions, screaming, what are you doing? Why are you taking that shot 30 feet away from the hoop with 15 seconds left in the shot clock? And then he cashed it. And I had never been happier to be wrong. Obviously forced overtime, and Friars ended up winning that game. But that is one of those key moments that I'll just always remember where I was. And honestly, Devin Carter gave us a lot of moments last season, but that was the big one for me.
Definitely. That was, I mean, so special. One of the best moments of the year. For a single play, honestly, I think like the windmill dunk against Georgetown was for sure the most like hype, crowd interactive moment, circumstances, right? We know old coach coming back in. But in terms of importance for the year, that was the single-handedly the most important play of the year. Just incredibly massive. I don't remember the exact circumstance of the game. I think it either put us up 1 or up 2.
I think it tied the game because they ended up going into overtime.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, honestly, kind of similar to, if we win the game against St. John's, I think we would be talking about the Bensley Joseph shot to tie the game in a similar way, believe it or not. Unfortunately, you don't win the game and no one's going to remember it. But
yep.
Yeah, definitely an awesome moment.
I think if the Friars don't win that game, like the Big East tournament is really null and void as far as hoping to make the tournament last year, unless you win it. Because I feel like everyone really, after like the Creighton game you had mentioned in the tournament, after that win, I'm sure everyone had thought like, all right, well, we're on the inside, barring any bid stealers. Like you felt good about your chances. Without that ranked win at the dunk, like that shot doesn't go in, Friars lose. You're below 500 in Big East play, and you really don't feel like you have a shot in March. And it at least prolonged us feeling like we had a shot.
Yeah, totally agree.
Eduardo, what do you got for your second pick?
Up again. Yep.
I'm gonna go with senior night, specifically when Josh Oduro held up future class of PC. What is it? 2046, whatever. Gabriel
Yep,
Oduro.
that sounds right.
I think so. Yeah,
as well as take a game
awesome
as
moment.
well. So
awesome moment.
Josh holding up Gabriel like he was Simba was so iconic. That was all like everyone like speculated like, oh, that'd be awesome if he did this, and then he just casually Gabriel's on the jumbotron, future Friar. I think that was awesome, and then to find out that Kim English was the Godfather, everything about that was so wholesome and awesome.
It was totally. I totally forgot that Kim's the Godfather. That's truly special.
Mm-hmm. Sports are amazing.
It is absolutely. You're correct. I'm up again, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. For this one, this is the first. Well, I mean, I think the Gabriel Oduro kind of is off the court, but it also did happen on the court. So this kind of might be the first off the court thing. But I mean, I kind of feel obligated to this. This is, the Divine Providence documentary. Not to make it all about myself, but it's the namesake for our show. It's the reason why I have a following on Twitter at this point. It got the fans hyped up for the game, and it was an awesome documentary. DeGenerate did an unbelievable job from top to bottom. And that was a special time. It was just a fun time, and it really just set us in a way to be so excited for the Georgetown game.
Yeah, I think everything like you said, it was kind of like the perfect tee up for the Georgetown game. Like before, after, all the fallout after the fact. Like it was like a college basketball soap opera. Goodman's all pissed off and Barstool's talking all about it, and like just there was so many things around it. And I mean, obviously, like you said, it's the namesake of this podcast. But yeah, I think that I honestly had that one written down, to be honest. Just everything around that was awesome. Like it was this time last year, like there was so much just national attention around what the documentary was basically about and telling the story of.
Yeah, and also real quick, I get this question a lot, like how I was placed in that situation to be interviewed for it, and basically it was just because I had been following Blue Demon Degenerate for a long time. We had interacted on Twitter for like many years since he'd been doing it. And when Ed Cooley left for Georgetown, or whatever his name is, left for Georgetown, I had a lot of strong thoughts, on Twitter that, maybe the average person wouldn't say because they were afraid to, lose their job, and called him some pretty bad things. So he thought I was a good candidate for it. That was pretty much it. I didn't really know him other than just from being on Twitter. Just thought I was a funny, degenerate piece of shit who would maybe trash Ed Cooley. And I did that. And that was it.
I saw he retired. Do you know why he did?
Don't know. I did reach out. I messaged him just saying, like, I was like, hey man, everything okay? Because like I said, I mean, this is this guy I've been talking to for years. He said, like, yeah, everything's good, just kind of like ran its course. He said, just kind of done with it. And yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, it's funny though, because DePaul's like actually kind of good now. So like I was like, hey man, like, I got one year left in you to do the Twitter. Like DePaul sucked for all those years, and now they're like kind of good, and now you're quitting Twitter. It doesn't really make any sense, but yeah, he gets you kind of reached this point where he was done with it.
I will say, because I know the whole Big East Films thing, like Divine Providence was the first of, I believe the plan was to release, at least one for every team. I think like that would have been so awesome. Like I really hope, I would imagine because of the whole Goodman fallout, like that is why other teams didn't get their respective, I guess, documentaries. But like that would have been an awesome thing to follow, and I think it would have just been great for the conference just to have that type of storytelling throughout every fan base.
Barstool was close. I won't say too much. It had nothing to do with me. It was between, Blue Demon and Barstool, and then it just kind of fell through. So, I mean, they were interested, but nothing ever came of it. So, which is sad.
Yeah. All right. So for my third pick, honestly, I am, because this is also an technically off the court thing. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't gone yet, but it's more of a Twitter moment, so I guess I understand. Devin Carter draft night, when the Sacramento Kings announced that they obviously selected Devin Carter with, I believe it was the 13th pick. And within, I think I still have screenshots. Like the tweet was 45 seconds old, and I think there were like 250 comments just saying Friar. Like, and I would always like tell my friends like stories about how like PCBC, they'll just all comment the same shit. It's like you have a bunch of bots. Obviously, it's not a bunch of bots, but like everyone's just tweeting in unison in a comment section. And then that was like the epitome of it. Like you would get goddamn carpal tunnel scrolling Friar. And then to see the Kings tweeting Friar, like the Sacramento Kings Twitter account, and then the whole Kings fan base is like, yeah, we're on board. Friar, thank you. All this shit. It was so cool to see it garner attention outside of the nutshell college basketball world. And I love draft night because it's like the perfect storm of NBA, college basketball, and then obviously when there's a Friar in the lottery, it's just freaking awesome. But just scrolling through the comment section, seeing people from outside the college basketball world embrace the whole Friar thing, that was awesome to see.
100%. And I mean, that was like the pinnacle, or the time where the PCVC really got its flowers nationally. And there's been other moments nationally, with like whatever is Barstool and just on Twitter and like, Antonio Brown, like whatever, and that was really special. And that really like was our peak, and recently we've kind of gotten a lot of hate. The PCBC's got a little bit of hate I think there's a couple bad apples. So I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. I can save it for after the draft, but yeah, the PCBC hate is not acceptable. I'm going to revisit that after the draft.
Cool. Eduardo, what are your thoughts on draft night?
I did bet on Devin Carter going top 10, so I kind of lost money, but it's a very, very good moment either way.
Yeah, I was fully convinced he was going to the Grizzlies. I think they were 9th, so I hammered the same bet.
All right, who we got? Eduardo, you're up.
Yep, Eduardo, you're up.
So I think I'm gonna go with an off the court Twitter thing. I'm gonna go with how PCBC, specifically Dangly Sack. Shout out Dangly Sack. Tyler Kolek can't read.
Yeah,
that was one of the things we made national attention to. I know I forget who reported it, but I know Simon tweeted it. Very credible source. Shout out Simon.
Yeah.
So I think, and I believe Dave Coletta commented on someone saying that the original Dangly Sack tweet technically happened in 2023, but it really picked up steam in 2024 when I think Simon reported it. Obviously,
it picked up steam too when he got drafted to the Knicks.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, because there were like national media outlets like I think it was Yes Network was just like, oh, is that the kid who can't read? And like people fully just bought into it. And then the whole fallout with the employees at Marquette kind of going to bat for Tyler.
Yeah, like Mike Francesca on the radio being like, Tyler Kolek can't read, and what are the Knicks doing?
Yeah. And then was it Michael K? He's like, oh, is that the kid who failed the Wonderlic test? There's no Wonderlic test
yes.
in the NBA.
There's no Wonderlic. Yeah. That's incredible. Yeah. That was just that showed the power of the PCBC, for sure. All right, so I'm up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I also have an off the court moment. This is a PC. This is more of a niche PC Twitter moment, but I have some friends that talk about this moment a lot, and we think it's hilarious. Tommy Gufano tweeted at Kim English, coach at English Scope 24. I have been drinking since noon with no plans to stop. #mindset with the hat, the mindset hat. Kim English replied, "Yo, chill, be safe."
I vaguely remember this.
That was just truly just one of my favorite moments.
That's great
of the year. April 21st, 2023. It was probably like the first nice day. And Tommy Gufano was just out, just drinking. And he tweeted at Kim English, and Kim English told him, like, hey, slow down. And I mean, if he didn't know it by now, like what he's getting into, Kim English, of course, then he knew at that point, because this is just a fan base that likes to drink, have a good time, and just get a little rowdy. So
that's awesome. I completely forgot about that, but now that you say it, I do remember that.
Yeah. Yep.
So is this third and final? We're doing 3?
Yeah, I think this is it. Yeah.
Okay. So I have like notes here, and pretty much every commitment this year is on this list. But the one that stands out to me was when Oswin committed earlier this year. And he said, I don't even know if Oswin's commitment was this calendar year. Regardless, I'm going to roll with it. He had one of the coolest quotes ever when he committed. And he said, I want to be a legend in my city. And I thought that was just like, you know what, dude? You are a Friar through and through. Like, epitome of a 4-year guy. Like, he wants to be a Friar, like, genuinely. And I think putting on the black and silver like that, like, it means something to him. because obviously, he didn't live far from Providence. I just thought it was a baller quote. And obviously, when you land what was he, top 30, top 35 guy, the whole fan base is going to be excited about that. And then you add the other layer on top of no, this is where I want to be. I'm proud to be a Friar. I want with all my heart to be a Friar. I thought the quote was awesome, but also honorable mention, Jalen Harrell's commitment day when everyone changed their profile picture to Jalen Harrell.
Yeah.
And it was just gross amounts of Jalen Harrell, just
I forgot
in your
about
notifications and comment sections. And then obviously Jameer Jones. I'm going to stick with Oswin for the graphic, but Jameer Jones was awesome as well because I believe he was rated a 5-star on some ranking sites before he committed, and then obviously the whole rub it in your face with Ivan Thomas thing. And now he's tearing it up. So that looks like an amazing commitment. I think he committed on Mother's Day.
It was, yeah. That was Mother's Day. Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the 3 big commitments I wanted to touch on. But I love Oswin's quote. I want to be a legend in my city, and I just think that's awesome.
Do you want to do an honorable mention one, Leb?
Yeah, I'll do an honorable mention for sure.
I got another one too. When you want me to go?
You be up, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When this is another Twitter moment when Kim responded to Goodman engagement farming.
Yeah, engagement farming.
100%. Was that when Goodman was calling the non-conference schedule cupcake?
I think so. I'm not too sure. Might have to check.
No, because didn't he call out the strength of non-conference schedule? And Kim was just your engagement farming, or was it something else? Because I know it was taking a shot at PC in some way.
Yeah, I can't.
And then obviously everyone ran with the cupcake gifts.
Goodman tweeted, he quoted the schedule, and he said, "Just imagine if the Friars didn't get into the battle for Atlantis." And Kim responds, "Engagement farming." And then a John Goodman replies, "It's pretty soft, coach." And then Kim responds with giggity.
Yep, that's right. That's a good one for sure. Kim had a couple good quotes on Twitter.
Yeah, he did for sure. He's a good follow in the off season at least. For sure. So then I'll go with the outing. The golf outing was phenomenal, and I'd love to recover the video of the reception that Kim got and everyone chanting Kim. But that was a special day, special moment. Just a lot of fun. Hope they do it again next year. Maybe we'll even have the Divine Providence foursome. I'm a terrible golfer, by the way. You can ask anyone that I golfed with on the last foursome. But also just meeting the players, meeting Kim, was great. Knapp was there. So it was an awesome time. Hope they do it again.
Yeah, I wish I could have made that. I am also a terrible golfer. So if your goal is to win, maybe the Divine Providence foursome is not the best idea.
No, my goal is not to win.
If my goal is to have a good time.
Yeah. If my goal was to win, then I wouldn't. My goal wouldn't be to win because I will never win.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. But I think that about wraps it up for the draft. I think it was a good way to look back at 2024, highlight some of the bright spots, some of the funny moments that have happened and within the fan base and the sport, and just a little fun exercise. And hopefully we have too many options next year and we have to go 8 rounds because there's so many we want to touch on. Who knows?
Yeah. No, for sure. Couple just closing statements. Like I said before, the PCBC came under a lot of fire, right? We interact with these guys on a daily basis, and sure, there's always going to be, some bad eggs, but honestly, from a very young age, I grew up going to PC games. Became a diehard fan instantly. by and large, the fan base, a lot of people know this. Some people don't know this, but the fan base as a whole had always kind of been like exclusive and elitist. Like for a small program, they kind of always operated like a professional team because the fan base and like the common fan was always drowned out. When the PCBC came along and PC Twitter in general, which PC Twitter dates all the way back to like 2012, 2013. That was kind of our opportunity, like the regular person, to have a voice in the program, and we do. When the documentary came along, Divine Providence last year, that was my personal opportunity to, be like the common fan. Right now, I'm not saying that everyone agrees with me, and you certainly don't all have to agree with me, but I was given a voice, and that's important. When someone not so powerful, not rich, not a huge donor is given a voice, you have a unique opportunity. And that's what the PCBC is. It's a group of people that are regular people, whether they're college kids, whether they're just lifelong fans, diehard fans, and they're given a voice within the program to be able to be heard, make changes, display their displeasure, maybe their pleasure with the program, right? To just be heard. I would take 4,000 rabid fans online, right, who say some nasty things every now and then, over 200 rich guys any day of the week, because at the end of the day, there's power in numbers, and that's what the PCBC is, and that's what it's always been. And I don't care what anyone says, right? There's always going to be some bad apples, but ultimately, it's a good thing. And if you disagree, then you just haven't paid attention over the past year. So that's all I got. I just want to say, we've been getting a lot of hate. It's unwarranted. I know there's some bad people that say some bad things, but you got to ignore it, right? This is a burner community for the most part, and some people are just going to go rogue, right? We understand that. Also want to give a shout out to a listener. We lost a listener, a friend, Alex Lefebvre. He passed away tragically on Christmas Day. So rest in peace to him, and prayers to his family. So I shared a GoFundMe on my Twitter. If you guys can donate to his family, I think we're up to like 20,000 now. So, if you find it in you to be able to do that for them, they obviously need it. So you guys have anything else before we sign off?
I think your preamble about the PCBC was beautiful. I would much rather have strength in numbers and a rabid psychos running around through the highs and lows.
Yeah.
You mentioned Alex. I've never had the chance to meet him, but obviously in this great community, we're all family, whether we know each other or not. My thoughts and prayers go out to the family, and yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I've seen so many people come forward, just say so many great things about Alex. I've heard so many great things, like not only just since he passed, but over the past 10 years of knowing him. I mean, he was the first person I met, PC Twitter, a great kid. I would meet random people, and that for some way, somehow, it would, like, everyone I knew would know him, So, tragic loss for the community. Other than that, Eduardo, you got anything before we sign off here?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Sorry to get heavy at the end. I just had to kind of get that out there, especially about the PCBC. That was bugging me. We get a lot of hate. It's not fair. It's not fair. Don't like it. Don't love it. All right. Other than that, I think we're good. Let's get a win against Marquette. I will be there. Eduardo might be there. Mac, he's going to be in Newport. So if you're in Newport, look for Mac. If you're at the game, say what up. You know the drill. Maybe a little Murphy's action. We'll see. All right, gentlemen. You take it easy. Have a happy new year. We'll talk soon.
Back the amp.